Okay, this is this web page shows the immediate uh, damage that happened at the time that this earthquake hit. Okay, you saw there a cemetery that had been damaged. I'm hoping I bring it back here. Here it comes. This cemetery had been damaged. And this came from the Miami Herald. This came from the Miami Herald. The casual observer could be forgiven for thinking the Caribbean is itself shaking itself apart. Yesterday's massive 7.7 magnitude earthquake just south of Cuba and the north of Jamaica comes on the heels of a 6.4 magnitude quake that hit Puerto Rico and the U.S. Virgin Islands. That earthquake was in and of itself an 8.0 and an 8.4, actually an 8.4, and then the 8.0 hit the following Friday. Now, while it's tempting to see the quakes as part of an interconnected swarm, that's not necessarily the case, according to experts. There is a correlation between them, said Julie Dutton, a geophysicist with U.S. Geological Survey. The Caribbean has plates moving in different directions that contribute to being highly seismic. But Puerto Rico is pretty far away from this earthquake, and we don't consider the two related. Okay? Tuesday's earthquake was felt as far away as the Panhandle in Florida, and the governments of Cuba, Jamaica, the Bahamas were all briefly on high alert for potential tsunamis, but as of Tuesday evening last night, there were few reports of physical damage. If you'll notice, children here were getting underneath their desks in a school there while their teacher was yelling at them, please get under your desk and hold on. That is the proper protocol for earthquakes. Get under a desk that's going to protect you from falling objects from above. The tremor was sparked, yesterday's earthquake was sparked by the North American and Caribbean tectonic plates grinding against each other at a place called the Orient Fault. These so-called strike-slip faults are characterized by nearly vertical fractures and horizontal movements in the earth. Vertical fractures, up and down fractures in the earth. Excuse me, my microphone came undone there. Vertical fractures in the earth and horizontal fractures in the earth, so-called strike-slip faults that are characterized by these vertical fractures and horizontal movements in the earth. At the Oriente Fault, Oriente Fault, which runs just south of Cuba, the North American plate moves west-southwest over the Caribbean plate at a rate of about 19 millimeters per year. Not surprisingly, it is known for being seismically active. 5 other earthquakes of magnitude 6 or larger have occurred within 250 miles of Tuesday's earthquake. The next 2 largest were of magnitude 6.8 in December 2004 and 6.2 in May of 1992. In addition, Haiti, as you know, was hit by a magnitude 7 earthquake in 2010 that killed more than 300,000 people. Because these earthquakes happened off land, far away from population centers, there was no known damage or fatalities. There was some damage, as you saw in this video here, where a roadway had an open fissure. A roadway opened up. Fissure opened up in the roadway. The North American and Caribbean plates where Tuesday's earthquake occurred, that's the main plate boundary in the region, that Dutton, the geophysicist, said. But there are definitely thousands of other faults and even some that aren't even on the map. that aren't even on the map. Puerto Rico, for its part, has been rocked by a series of earthquakes that began on January 28th and peaked on January 7th with a magnitude 6.4 main shock. That 6.4 was actually an 8.4. That U.S. territory, Puerto Rico, is literally being squeezed between two major plates, and its cluster of earthquakes has been concentrated in the south where the Caribbean plates slip beneath the island at a spot ominously called Muertos Trough. Muertos Trough. It's called Trough of the Dead. Since January 7th main shock, the island of Puerto Rico has been rattled by hundreds of aftershocks, including a significant magnitude 5 quake on Sunday. More than 4,600 people in Puerto Rico are still living outside, waiting for the Caribbean to quit rumbling. Okay, that's what happened there. Now, with that said, the Caribbean is still rumbling. The Caribbean is still rumbling. I'm going to now show you another map here. I'm pulling it up as we speak because I want to show it to you here. I want to show you what is actually going on still right now as we speak. Okay, this, it's not a photograph, it's a map. It's a USGS map. This shows you approximate location of where these earthquakes hit. This main earthquake hit, this shows a 5.1, but yesterday it was a 7.7, at least a 7.7 magnitude quake. Today they keep having aftershocks. Today's aftershock was a 5.1. Yesterday they had a 4.7. Okay, that was the first one. That was nearest Lucia, Jamaica. 104. This quake today was 114 kilometers northwest of Lucia, Jamaica. Yesterday's was 78 kilometers northwest of Lucia, Jamaica. Later yesterday, we continued to have earthquakes. These are in the Canary Islands. The earthquake yesterday was a 6.4 magnitude earthquake. Today, as you can see, we've had extensive aftershocks. This one's a 4.4, 50 kilometers, approximately 30 miles southeast of East End Cayman Islands. This is in the Cayman Trench here, the Cayman Trench. This earthquake highlighted in blue is a 4.0, 54 kilometers, again about 38 miles southeast of East End Cayman Islands. The one almost directly below and southwest of there is a 4.3 moderate quake, an aftershock, 57 kilometers, again about 38 miles southeast of East End Cayman Islands. Two others, a 4.3, 53 kilometers southeast of East End Cayman Islands, and then one other, a 4.1 moderate quake, approximately 50 kilometers, again, approximately 32 miles southeast of East End Cayman Islands. These are all aftershocks of yesterday's 6.4. Now, you guys have already been asking me why we don't see more aftershocks out of this 7.7. I believe they are not showing us what is going on. They're not showing us what is going on. Even after the earthquakes happened in Puerto Rico, we immediately started seeing aftershocks. So far, we've only seen this one, this 5.1 today, and a 4.7 from yesterday. I'm going to tell you we probably will be seeing more aftershocks out of both of these quakes. And I don't believe it's over. I don't believe it's over. I believe this area is still going to have earthquakes for some time to come. While we're down in this area, let's go over here to Puerto Rico. I think we need to show you this. And these are not the only earthquakes to hit this area. We've had some earthquakes over here in the Dominican island that the USGS is not reporting. Again, we know exactly what's going on there. But I wanted to show you these earthquakes. First off, down here in the southern part of Puerto Rico. Again, most of these earthquakes are offshore from southern Puerto Rico. These are aftershocks from the 8.4 and 8.0 quake that happened several weeks ago over here in Puerto Rico. Again, these are today. A 3.2 in Guayanilla, Puerto Rico, just offshore, a 3.2, 7 kilometers. Again, this is about 4 miles north of Puenuelas, Puerto Rico. Here's a 2.9, 1 mile west of Indios, Puerto Rico. And I'm not going to hit all of them. I'm just showing you some of these. A 3.1 in Guanica. This offshore from Guanica. This is the furthest offshore, 27 kilometers, approximately 18 or 19 miles south of Guanica. Okay, this is out in the Caribbean. Okay, and these are just 3.1 and another 3.1 there. So now you know what happened south of Puerto Rico today. And that's just today. Okay, these aftershocks are going to last at least a year, year and a half, and possibly even a decade. These aftershocks that have occurred here in Puerto Rico, over between Cuba and Jamaica, and over in the Cayman Islands yesterday, these aftershocks will continue for probably at least a year, possibly up to 10 years. Why? Because yesterday, and when this Puerto Rico quake first hit on December 28th, it fractured the plate. Both this 8.4 and 8.0 earthquake here, and then this one over here. Let me pull it up, please. Just give me a second. Okay, this quake here fractured the plate, and this one here is 6.4, helped to further fracture the plate. We have a full rupture right here, and we have another full rupture right here just south of Puerto Rico. So it fractured the plate, meaning it's going to make it a lot more easy for the plate to move. So that's what we have going on. That's what we have going on. Now, let's go up here just northwest of Puerto Rico. This is the Mona Passage, the body of water going between the Dominican Republic here and Puerto Rico. It's called the Mona Passage. Just northwest of Puerto Rico, north of the Mona Passage, we had a 4.6 magnitude earthquake, 76 kilometers northwest of San Antonio, Puerto Rico. This is the same location where we had a 6.3 magnitude earthquake approximately the end of August 2019. Okay, these are aftershocks from that quake. Here's a 3.3 that's 84 kilometers northeast of Punta Cana, Dominican Republic. Punta Cana is down here in the Dominican Republic, and that's where this earthquake is, northeast of Punta Cana. But again, it's just north of the Mona Passage as well. But these earthquakes are aftershocks. The earthquakes down here fractured the plate, and it refractured the plate yesterday right here. And again, we're going to have aftershocks for probably at least a year, year and a half, if not 10 years, because of this full rupture. The plate, full rupture plate earthquake. Okay, that's what happened in the Caribbean yesterday. Okay, now this again, this is the USGS map. They're not showing all the earthquakes, but I wanted to show you this just as a reference point. I'm going to show you the EMSC map in just a few minutes. Down here in southern Mexico, we have multitudes of earthquakes, swarms of earthquakes down here. USGS is only showing one of many. This is an upper 4, a 4.8 moderate earthquake. 4.8 moderate earthquake, approximately 2 miles, 5 kilometers west of Bajos del Allido, Mexico, southern Mexico. There are a lot more here, and I'll be showing those to you in just a little while. That's not all, folks. There's a lot more where that came from. While we're here on the the east coast of the Pacific, let's go down here to southern Chile. This earthquake happened earlier this morning, a 4.2 magnitude quake, again a moderate quake, 10 kilometers southwest of Villarrica, Chile. Santiago is just north of there, and then just north of Santiago in Coquimbo, Chile, we had a 4.9 5.0, a large quake down here in Coquimbo, Chile, 83 kilometers west southwest of Coquimbo. Now, I'm going to show you this. Okay, this was off the coast of Coquimbo today. Coquimbo is right here. Coquimbo is right here on the coast. Coquimbo a few years ago had an 8.0 here. It's not a stranger to large earthquakes. This was off the coast and probably did very little damage, but it probably shook a lot of people's nerves. 83 kilometers off the coast, that's about 45 miles off the coast. All this did was shake people up. Okay, probably no injuries and no damage from this earthquake off the coast of Coquimbo, Chile. Okay, let's go north. Here we have one, a 4.0 in away from Chile. Actually, Bolivia, I'm sorry, Bolivia. This Bolivia is right here on the border of Chile and Bolivia. Okay, 148 kilometers west-southwest of Bolivia, right at the border of Bolivia and Chile here. That was a moderate earthquake. North of there, near the border of Bolivia, Peru, and Chile. Peru is right here, Chile's right here, and Bolivia is right here. This is a 4.1 moderate quake, Putri, Chile. Just on the other side of this, in Peru, we have Acunta, Peru, where we have Sabancaya volcano, and Sabancaya volcano is erupting. Okay, this is all the earthquakes that are showing right now on USGS. Like I said, there's a lot more. Okay, I'm going to cross over here to the Pacific, the South Pacific, over here to the Solomon Islands. And again, this earthquake hit approximately 6 this morning Mountain Time. Kira, Solomon Islands. Kira, Solomon Islands, a 70-kilometer away from the Solomon Islands. Again, this is in the open ocean. The open ocean, about 40 miles west of the Solomon Islands. west of Kirikiri anyway. Again, it probably did no damage, being it's out in the ocean. It probably, I don't know how many felt reports this had, but there are quite a few felt reports here. But it did no damage. It was out in the ocean. Luckily, this quake was in the middle of the ocean. Going over to Papua New Guinea, we have another 5.1 magnitude earthquake in Papua New Guinea. This is a 5.1 large earthquake, 81 kilometers south-southwest of Kokopo, Papua New Guinea. Now I'm going to enlarge the map so you can see exactly where this thing was. Okay. There's the Papua New Guinea quake. This one hit on land. This one hit on land. I do not know whether they've had damage or not. It's just barely getting to be light. This is just a large quake. The last time they had a quake here, I believe it was a 6.5 to 6.8, if I'm not mistaken. I believe it was last September, October time period when a quake hit here the last time. And it was a very strong quake. Today, this was just a large earthquake. It may have done some damage considering the building materials these people use and the conditions they live in. It probably did do substantial damage over here in Papua New Guinea earlier, our time this morning, their time in the middle of the night. Okay, going further over here in Papua New Guinea, a 4.8 moderate earthquake hit on the fault line here, hit on this fault line. Now this was in the ocean and did no damage. It was a upper 4 moderate quake, 4.8. And because it was in the middle of the ocean, it did no damage. However, if you see this earthquake fault here, you need to remember this whole area of the South Pacific, including Tonga, Fiji, Solomon Islands, Vanuatu, this whole area, and Indonesia is like 18 different plates, 12 or 18 different plates. I don't remember the exact count. There are different plates here, and they're all subducting. They're all subducting under the plate, the Indonesian plate, the Japanese plate, the Philippine plate. There's a bunch of different plates here, and they're all subducting. That's why we have so many earthquakes down here. It's just like the Pacific Northwest, where the North American plate is going over the North American or the Pacific plate there. Okay, and the Juan de Fuca. North American plate is going over. The other plates are subducting under the North American plate. That's what's happening here. That is exactly what is happening here. Over here in central Indonesia, we have another 5.7 magnitude quake, 116 kilometers west of Kota Ternate, Indonesia. This is another location where we had a 7.0, I believe September, October time period. This whole area of Indonesia was literally on fire with earthquakes. And in fact, Papua New Guinea and Papua Indonesia had wildfires going on as well. But these earthquakes continue to hit one after another after another. And they continued from last summer all the way through, I believe, September, October this year. And even then, we still had moderate earthquakes throughout this whole region. Okay. Now, let's go over here off the coast of North Sumatra, Indonesia. Here in the North Indian Ocean, we had a 4.7 over here today. Did no damage. It was just west of this Indonesian plate here, this fault line. North, north of there on the fault, we had a 4.6 magnitude earthquake that hit 163 kilometers west southwest of Mohin, India. Okay, India is over here. 163 kilometers. It seems like it's even further than that. And the distance might be over here. But this is Burma. I don't know exactly where Mohin, India is. I believe it's over here, but it's an awful long ways. Okay, 4.6 here, and over here we have a 5.1, 190 kilometers, approximately 100 miles southeast of Port Blair. That Port Blair must be up in here, but it's right east of the fault here, right east of the fault. So here's another large earthquake that happened here in the Indian Ocean. Oh, and we just barely had another earthquake that they let us know about. Again, this is in Ternate, Indonesia. It's an aftershock of this 5.7. This was a 4.6, a mid-range 4.6 moderate quake. An aftershock of this 5.7 that hit here earlier today. Okay, that's not all, folks. There's more. South Korea was hit, a 3.5 earthquake today, right here in the middle of South Korea. Now again, a 3.5 is a small quake. It more than likely did absolutely no damage. It rumbled under people's feet. That's what happens there. Going up here north of Japan, in the Kuril Islands. These are the Kuril Islands. We have a volcano here called Ebeko volcano. But this earthquake hit here 77 kilometers south of Kuril Strait here, a 4.7, a mid-range 4 moderate earthquake here in the Kuril Islands. Over here in the Kamchatka Peninsula, Russia. Okay, this happened again early this morning. 4.7 here, a mid-range 4 moderate quake. Up here on Kamchatka Peninsula. Kamchatka Peninsula. Okay, now I'm going to go west. I want to talk about the Alaska, the United States, and Hawaii in a few minutes. So I'm going to go west and show you the rest of these earthquakes here that USGS has identified. Again, they have a lot more earthquakes than USGS is telling us about. As you can see by the map, it says we have 61 earthquakes on this map. It doesn't look like it's anywhere close to there. In a few minutes, I'll identify the number of earthquakes that are around the world. This is only a fraction of them, not even half of them. I promise you that. Okay. In China, just north of the Bangladesh area in China, we have another mid-range 4, moderate 4.5 earthquake, 55 kilometers, 30 miles south of Nadong, China. South of Nadong, China. Going west and northwest. 4.2, small moderate quake, 4.2, 89 kilometers east, northeast of Arzak, China. Let's continue going west, a little bit southwest of there. A 5.3 hit over here in Tajikistan. Tajikistan was hit today. Okay. Over here in Afghanistan. Afghanistan also got hit, a 4.3 earthquake there. Over here on the northeast side or northwest side of Iran, we have a 4.9, 5.0 earthquake there that they've identified. Over here in the Mediterranean Sea, near Carpathos, Greece, we have several earthquakes here that we want to tell you about here. Okay, This one that I have highlighted is a 4.3, 85 kilometers east southeast of Carpathos, Greece. I believe Carpathos is over here on this island over here to the west. This is in the Mediterranean Sea here. This other is a 4.3 earthquake there. And also, here's another 4.8. Again in the Mediterranean Sea, east of Carpathos, Greece. These islands here. Okay. Here is Crete. Here is Greece. Here. Carpathos, I think, is right up in here. I'm sorry, this is Greece here. That's Turkey. That's Turkey. These islands are the Dokanese Islands here. Okay. Carpathos is probably one of these islands right in here. Okay. That's all that USGS is telling us about there, which is interesting because there's a lot more. There's a lot more going on there. Okay. I'm going to keep this on the map, and I'm going to stop sharing that particular map so you can watch the map that I'm going to show you. Okay, I just got a message. Okay, I was just notified that if you want antiviral masks, meaning masks, respiratory masks to help protect you from the coronavirus, they're out of stock now. Most places, and this is probably over on Amazon, but I am also told that Walmart and Home Depot are out of stock on the N95 and N100 masks. You can possibly still get surgical masks, which is better than nothing. Better than nothing. But if you want to order any other masks, you're probably going to have a hard time getting them. Those masks are probably going to be out of stock. Now, folks, I'm not right now following the chat. A little bit later, I'll go back into the chat. And if you go ahead and hold your questions till about the last 30 minutes of the program here, I will be happy to answer your questions at that point in time. We're only 36 minutes into the program. My dear sister and friend, Scarlett, just notified us about those masks. Over in Africa, just so you know, there is a video on YouTube that is showing a plague of billions of locusts that have invaded Africa. And those locusts are eating up the crops that the poor people of Africa have planted. Now, these locusts did that kind of thing back in the 1800s here in Salt Lake City. And then a bunch of seagulls came and started eating the locusts. That is not the case over in Africa. Over in Africa, billions of locusts have descended upon Africa and are eating the plants that those poor people have planted. And there's probably going to be a huge famine in the land over in Africa within a very, very short time. All right. We will be talking more about the coronavirus shortly. I promise you. And if you'll bear with me, I'm going to have another sip on my water. I have to have my water. And for some reason, my microphone keeps slipping. Hopefully that's the end of that. It'll hold it just fine. Okay. Okay, I'm bringing up the map, but I just saw an earthquake that I kind of wanted to talk about. This earthquake hit approximately 12:23 p.m. Mountain Standard Time over in Loma, Colorado. Our dear friend and sister Melissa, who lives over in southwestern Colorado, may know where this is. Again, this is in Mac, Colorado today. Mac, Colorado. Now, I'm trying to look at this, and there's a reason for the quake. And I don't think that they're going to show us this. I'm going to still try to find it here. I don't think it's going to let us get close enough here. Okay, I'm going to show you where this quake is. Okay, this is where the quake is. And I want to point out a dot here, a dot here, a dot here, a dot here, a large plot of land right there. There's a bunch of dots all over this area. Oil and gas pumping operations. On this particular map, I cannot get close enough to show you the pumps and jacks. All it is blurred out in this particular map. All we see is blurred out areas. But let's see, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 11, 12. There's at least 12 plots of land that were cleared that have oil and gas pumping jacks here. Okay, there's at least that many. And further north and west, we have even more, but we cannot zoom in with this map and see them all. Okay, it's not letting us. I can see a black mark on the one plot of land, which I believe it is a jack, and there's dozens of them. There's dozens of them. But that's why that quake hit in Mac, Colorado today. It was a 2.2 magnitude earthquake in Mac, Colorado today. Okay, and that just happened to pop up as I was bringing this map up. That's why I'm showing that to you. Mac, Colorado. All right. Let's. I just had a song that popped into my head. Let's go fly a kite. No, I'm not going to sing to you. I'm not going to sing to you. Just a little while ago, we showed you the Solomon Islands had a quake. Down south of there in New Zealand, we had a 4.6 magnitude quake hit earlier today. It was at 3:14 this morning, actually. One that happened just a short time ago, 4:44 this afternoon, a 4.16 magnitude earthquake. Again, look at where they are, right on the doggone, literally on the fracture zone. On the fracture zone. And that's north of New Zealand. A 2.81, a 2.67. And then further south, I don't know why I keep messing around with north and south. Further south, we have a 2.6, 2.47 over off the Northeast coast of New Zealand, the North Island, we have a 3.19. And I don't know why that happened. This is weird. Automatically goes to a blank screen. All right, here we are. Anyway, we have a 3.19 just off the northeast coast of the North Island, New Zealand here. And then we have a bunch of other earthquakes here north of White Island. We have a 2.60, a 2.47, a 2.50 just north of White Island. 3 earthquakes north of White Island, there in the Bay of Plenty. White Island is still rumbling. It's throwing off SO2 and water vapor right now. Okay, that's what White Island volcano is doing now. There's the Bay of Plenty right now, or I mean right there. The White Island is about right there. Okay, just so you know. Just so you know. Let me see if I can even zoom into it. White Island volcano. Da, 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 da. Now it looks a lot bigger than it is, but you can see how big the island really is, right there. Okay, that's what's going on there. And the nearest earthquake is a 2.5 near Pukahina Bay of Plenty. Pukahina. I just want to show you here so you know exactly what's going on. Okay, we have 4 earthquakes kind of centered north of Topo Lake. This is Topo Lake, where the volcano is. Huge volcano here. We have 4 earthquakes around the outside north of the volcano. A 2.64 almost directly north. This is a 2.52. This is a 2.52. Darn it. Just keeps disappearing. 2.52. Then 2 others here. A 2.95, Lickfield, Waikato, New Zealand, and a 2.42, just south of there. So now you see what's going on in New Zealand. Over in the Cook Strait here, a 2.54 between the 2 islands of Cook Strait. Down here at the northeast end of the South Island, we have a 2.47. And that's all we have. That's all we have. Most of the earthquakes are either on the North Island or north of there, either in the Bay of Plenty or straight up the coast on the fracture zones. Straight up from the coast on the fracture zones, the earthquake faults there in New Zealand. Now, I am spending some time showing you this because we have at least 3 people in New Zealand that watch our program. This is an international program. Melissa, who is our webmaster that many of you have spoken with, has been advising me of people that have shown up in the chat from different countries. And I just want to point out that we have people in different countries all over the world, and I want to show you what is going on over there. That way they don't feel slighted, because in very much a reality, they are a part of this program. They are a part of this program. Okay. Look at all the earthquakes happening over in Tajikistan. Okay, Tajikistan, over into eastern Iran, going up into, yesterday we had a large earthquake right here. That's why you see a bunch of earthquakes here. And then going up into Afghanistan and this whole area up here. A lot more earthquakes than USGS is showing. Okay, a lot more earthquakes. Up here in northern Russia or southern Russia, 3.0, 3.8, 3.3, 2.9, 3.1, and it keeps it. No, it didn't even disappear. It's right there. Okay. And then we pop over here. Like I said yesterday, we had a large earthquake here. I think it was a 5.5, if I'm not mistaken, in Iran. But today, what are we seeing? 2.6s, 2.6, 2.7, 2.6, 3.5. Basically small earthquakes, aftershocks of the Iranian quake 5.5 yesterday. Kazakhstan, 3.4. Okay. Iraq, 2.5, 2.6, 2.7, 4.7 Iraq. Going up into Azerbaijan, we have a 3.3. And in Kakabur, eastern Turkey, we have a 2.5. 2.5 here. Look where it's located. Right next to I believe that's a Dead Sea, if I'm not mistaken. And it's not going to identify for us either. No kidding. Yeah, they're not going to identify that one. Anyway, over here in western Turkey, we see earthquakes. Now, these down here were partially shown by USGS, but they only showed us like 3 or 4. Look at the actual number of earthquakes over here just off the coast of Turkey, the Dokkanese Islands. There's a lot more earthquakes over here. 4.3, 3.2, and we haven't even touched that 10 plus here. 4.3 and 3.2. And there is our large earthquake over there. Okay, let's tap it out. Dokkanese Islands, a 5.4 here. A 5.4. Okay. If you look at the terrain of the undersea in the Mediterranean, you can see the fault line. You can see, obviously, why we have earthquakes down here. The fracture zone under the Mediterranean right there. Okay, this whole area was involved in faults and volcanoes. Faults and volcanoes. I'm going to show you a cone that's eroded. you can't tell exactly right there. If you had Google Earth up, you can see this is a cone under the ocean in the Mediterranean. Okay, a cone there, and there's quite a few cones here. A lot of these islands came to be islands because of volcanism. Anyway, there's a lot of earthquakes here. Dokanese Islands, we have that 5.4 here. We've got some 4s and 3s all over this area. This is over in western Turkey. There's a good large swarm of earthquakes there. Just wanted to finish showing you those. I thought I saw some oil and gas pumping operations that turned into a big city. It wasn't oil and gas at all. It's a huge city. I know they have oil and gas pumping operations because that's what our soldiers are over there trying to make sure that the oil and gas pumping operations are not compromised. Oh well. And again, just like that other picture I showed you, this Google Earth map is not going to give us exact pictures of what is going on. It's going to keep things blurred, and basically because it's a foreign country, and heaven forbid we have exact pictures, even though I know we do. Anyway, going into Greece. Greece got hit today, lightly, not as much as they have. Usually this whole area is covered in earthquakes in Greece. Not a lot today. 2.9s, 2.6s, 2.5s. They're actually larger earthquakes than they normally have been. Usually we see 1s, and now we see 2s. Here's down in the Aegean Sea area, which is the area that separates North Greece from South Greece. In the Aegean Sea, we have 2.8 Antiphyso, 1.5 Aegean Sea, 0.5, 1.1, and 0.8. Here's a 1.6, 11 miles south of Patras, Greece. South of Patras. And for those of you that know me really well and have been with me for a long time, know that I have taught Sunday school for a long time. Taught the New and the Old Testament. One of my favorite things. One of my favorite things of all things. And I know this area fairly well. I've actually taught the classes and shown maps. Anyway, in the Ionian Sea west of Greece, we have another 3.1 magnitude earthquake in the Ionian Sea. Again, you can see it's right on the fault. Right smack dab on the fault. Interesting. Okay, let's go up to Albania. Albania. We've had pretty good sized earthquakes in Albania. This is over in southwest or southeastern Albania. We have let's start here. We have a 2.9. We have like 4 or 5 earthquakes here. We have a 2.9, a 2.5, a 2.5, and a 2.6, all there in southwestern Albania. Not to be outdone, in up north, we have a 2.0 and another 2.0 in Durrës County. This is an area where we had a 6.3 not that long ago here in Albania. A 2.0 and a 2.0 there in northern Albania. Over in South Italy, Calabria, Italy, we had a 2.3, and it keeps going on. There we are, a 2.3, southern Italy. Over in central Italy, folks, we've had 3 earthquakes. Lazio, Italy, a 2.1. North of there, we have a 2.0 in Marcia, 2.0 near Marcia, Italy. And just north of there, a 2.1, also near Marcia, Italy. Central Italy got hit. Over at the Italian-France border, we had a 1.8 in Switzerland. Actually, it's in Switzerland. It's very close to France and that whole area. Swiss shares the border with France, or Switzerland shares the border with France and Italy. And so we have a 1.8 and also a 2.6 over here at the border of Italy and Switzerland. These are actually in Switzerland. And one other earthquake here, also in Switzerland, we have a 1.8. Okay, so we've had a 1.8, a 2.6, and another 1.8 right there. 2.6 being right in the middle of those two. Okay, fascinating, huh? To me, it is. It's absolutely fascinating to see what happens here and know why. Because the earthquake stress is following what? The fracture zones, the cratons. Okay, we see it. Look at where these earthquakes are, right on the edge of the craton. It's amazing, completely amazing. Love it. Anyway, the south of Spain, we had a 1.8 and a 1.6. 1.8 and 1.6 here. Let me enlarge this a little bit so you can see what's going on. In fact, there's a few earthquakes here. 1.8, a 2.0, and a 1.6 down here in the south part of Spain. We have 3 earthquakes there. And then we told you about one that is further north and east, I mean, 1.8 there down in southern Spain. Woohoo! Just off the coast of Portugal, we have a 2.10. And west of Gibraltar, we have a 2.2. Out in the Atlantic Ocean, just west of Gibraltar. It's fascinating. And look where it is. It's right on the fault. Right on the fault. Fascinating. Fascinating stuff. Now, going over to Africa, to Morocco. We have a 3.6 in Morocco. 3.6. Just off the coast of Morocco, we have a 3.7. Then the Canary Islands are speaking to us. We have a 1.6 in Tazacorte, Canary Islands, 1.6, and Villa Flor, another 1.6. So 2 1.6s in the Canary Islands today. Okay, now we've talked about Europe, Northern Europe. We've talked about the Middle East. But we're not done with the Atlantic quite yet. Up near Iceland, just south of Iceland, Grindavik, Iceland, a 3.2. A 3.2 just south of Iceland. And look where it is. It's on the North Atlantic Fault, the North Atlantic fracture zone. Okay, again, the fracture zone goes right through the middle of Iceland. And they say one day it's going to fracture Iceland in half. Okay, that's where that earthquake was today. Okay, so now we've told you about Europe, we've told you about Asia, we've told you about South America. Okay, what haven't we told you about? Over in Costa Rica, just off the eastern coast of Costa Rica, we had a 3.7. And over on the western part of Costa Rica, just offshore, we had a 3.1. Almost near each other, but on different coasts. Different coasts over there in Costa Rica. Okay. Then, over here in El Salvador, on land, we had a 2.9. And we had a 3.8 just off the coast of El Salvador today. Again, Central America. Going over on the other side of the fault. The other side of the fault. Now, this fault has to do with the Cayman Islands. Okay? This side of the fault. Guatemala, 4.1, South Guatemala. This fault is part of the Cayman Trench, and it starts down here on the western side of Guatemala. Okay? A 3.7, Hidalgo Cristina, 3.7. Gosh, come on. Then over here in southern Mexico, we have a 4.3. Oh, come on. We have a 4.3 and a 3.4 to start off in southern Mexico. And then the swarms start. This one is 50 plus earthquakes. 50 plus earthquakes there. Let's click on it and see what happens. Now it goes to another 50. Okay, it spreads out. Now it spreads out just a little bit more. You can see the swarms of earthquakes there in southern Mexico, all over. We have 3.5s, 3.6s, 3.0s, 3.5s, 3.4s. You get my drift? 3.6s. And we still have three 10 plus circles there. What do we have? 3s, 3.6s again, 3.4s. We just opened up another one of those balls. 3.5s, 3.6s, 3.6s. And we just popped the last 10. Huge swarm of earthquakes over here in South Mexico, southern Mexico. 3.6, 3.5, 3.6, 3.4s. These are all threes, mid-range threes, folks. Swarms everywhere. 50 plus earthquakes just in that swarm. 50 plus earthquakes. Now, we do have one of our viewers has been showing me volcanoes, that have been swarming, and well, they've been having swarms of earthquakes around them, but it's not just swarms. Two of those volcanoes down there in southern Mexico are not just swarming, they're steaming. And it's not part of Popocatépetl. It's south of there and north there along the coast of Mexico. These volcanoes have not erupted in thousands of years, and yet they're swarming. They're not swarming, steaming. Steaming. Now, I'm going to leave the map here real quick, and I want to show you what I'm talking about. You think we have a steaming going on there? One of the volcanoes in southern Mexico? Yep, we do. And we don't know which volcano that is. That's the other issue. Also here, we have steaming going on. It's not clouds, it's steam. So we have steaming going on at volcanoes other than in North America. They're down in Mexico. They're down in Mexico. I'm sorry I had to answer someone that was a mod on our channel, and they've had their mod removed and can't access chat on FRN. Have no idea why. I have no idea why. I will call you after this program is over and try to get hold of you and talk about it. I have no idea. Surgery wanted to know whether we're on Freedom Revolution or YouTube, and I said Freedom Revolution is where we're at. And my mod from YouTube says it's been fixed. That's great. Probably just a technical error, but I don't like our mods and everybody losing access. We just had another 5.3 magnitude earthquake in the Dokanese Islands, just west of Turkey. Those islands may be close to Turkey, but they're part of Greece. The Dokanese Islands just had a 5.3 earthquake. It was downgraded from a 5.5 magnitude earthquake there. Okay, let's go back to our map. Sorry about that, folks. Just had to take a breather Let me get some water here. Okay. I'm just going to briefly show you where we were down here in southern Mexico, where we had all those earthquakes. Swarms of earthquakes in southern Mexico. What do we know about swarms of earthquakes in southern Mexico? Swarms of earthquakes usually indicate where we're going to have the next large earthquake. Okay, I fully expect to see at least a 5.0 down here in southern Mexico. Okay, that's where I expect one of our next earthquakes to hit. Okay, now down in the Gulf of California, between Baja and mainland Mexico, we have a 3.9 in Guaymas de Sonora. Sureste meaning southeast of Guaymas, Sonora. It's right in the middle of the Gulf of California, right on the San Andreas Fault. Again, the San Andreas Fault runs from Northern California all the way through Imperial Valley, California, across the border, and down into the Gulf of California. We have an earthquake right there. And that's not the only earthquake that we have. Let's go down just south of the border, Progreso, Mexico. We have a 2.8, Baja, California, Progreso, Mexico. Don't know what that was. Okay. I am going to try to show you what's down here. Excuse me. I'm going to see if they'll let me show you this. It's going to let me get in here close enough. We have some volcanoes, but it's not going to let me show you Cerro Prieto. This is one of the volcanoes near Cerro Prieto. This earthquake isn't that far from it. This is a 2.8 magnitude earthquake down here. And Cerro Prieto is right in this area. And all of you know that there's a phoenix that is made of rock over here in the summit of that volcano. And this is in that area. Bingo. This is the Cerro Prieto volcano. And you can just barely tell that there's a phoenix in there. There's the phoenix there. Back it out a little bit. That's a Cerro Prieto volcano. And you can see the geothermal pumping operation there. The geothermal pumping operation there. So they're doing the same thing that we're doing over on our side of the border at the Salton Sea. Okay, I hope this will give you a better idea of the phoenix. Let me hold this still and see if you can see the phoenix. See if it'll give good resolution of it. Maybe not. Nope, it's not. Darn it. Because I can see it really well. Nope, it's not going to do it. Darn it. Anyway, you can see where that earthquake hit. The Cerro Prieto volcano is right there. So it's northeast of the Cerro Prieto, probably about 20 miles from Cerro Prieto volcano. And it's about 15 miles south of the Salton Sea. Okay. Okay. There's the Salton Sea up here, and Cerro Prieto is right here. Right on the San Andreas Fault. Smack dab right on the San Andreas Fault. Okay. Fascinating, huh? As long as we're down here at the Salton Sea, I'm going to show you the only earthquake that hit anywhere near the Salton Sea. This is Ocotillo Wells, California. Ocotillo Wells, just west of the Salton Sea today. It got hit to a tune of 1.17 earthquake. 1.17 earthquake there just west of the Salton Sea today. All right. We also had a 3.4, approximately 10 miles from Ensenada, 3.4, approximately 10 miles away from Ensenada on the Baja. Ensenada is right here on the Pacific Ocean, Baja, California. Okay, that's that. Let's go up to Alaska first. Actually, no, let's go over to Hawaii. Let's go over to the land of Aloha, where our dear friend and sister Kathy lives. Okay, this is Pahala. We have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 13 earthquakes in and around Pahala. Let's see what we have. 2.19, 2.0s, 1.82s, 2.03, 2.14, and it goes and goes. These are mostly 2s, all around Pahala. Now, why around Pahala? Because we have magma chambers coming out of the earth, and they're going over towards Kilauea. Over towards Kilauea. Kilauea is still refilling. Kilauea is still refilling. Let's see what we have here. We have a 1.89. Oh, let's see. 1.89, and it appears it's probably north of Kilauea. Actually, no, it's actually north and west of Kilauea. Just almost directly west of Kilauea, we have a 1.76. Then over here, just south of Kilauea, we have a 1.79. Okay, now that placard there is just covering up the Kilauea volcano. Here is the Kilauea volcano. See if I can get a better picture. Darn it, resolution is crappy here. There is the open pit of the Kilauea volcano. Here I'm zooming down into the pit of Kilauea. This is before the lava lake. This is before the lava lake. Looking right directly into the pit of Kilauea. Okay. The resolution on this is very poor, and it doesn't tell me when these pictures were taken. But we have the earthquake just on the outside west of the Kilauea volcano, 1.79 there. Literally right next to the volcano. And right now that volcano is full of water, like 3 football fields full of water. 3 football fields full of water. So we have 3 earthquakes in and around the Kilauea area. We have 13, 14 earthquakes all around Pahala because of the magma chambers. Okay, on the southern flank of Mauna Loa, we have a 1.32, and over on the north flank of Mauna Loa, we have a 1.89, Mauna Loa. Mauna Loa there. All right, so that's what's going on over in Hawaii today. That's what's going on in Hawaii today. Let's go up. Earlier tonight, we showed you 2 earthquakes, one over in central Kamchatka Peninsula. Since then, we've had a 3.9 over on the south end of the Kamchatka Peninsula. Okay, let's go over to Alaska. Right now, we have no earthquakes in the Aleutian Islands. This is the first in about a week or so, at least a week or so. No earthquakes at all in the Aleutian Island chain. But we have earthquakes over here in Alaska. If you noticed yesterday, we had very few. Look what we have now. Swarms of earthquakes all over southern Alaska. Swarms of earthquakes. Okay. Sheeshalden volcano is way down here. Sheeshalden volcano is right down in there. We have no earthquakes showing for there. It has been erupting, but we have no evidence of that right now. King Salmon, Alaska, in the southern peninsula, a 3.5. A 2.5 in North King Salmon area, Lovelock, Alaska, 2.5. Let's continue going up the peninsula here. Old Alama volcano. We have several earthquakes around Old Alama volcano. Let's take a look at that. A 1.7, a 2.3, and a 1.9. 2.7, 1.3, and a 1.9 around Old Alama volcano. Fascinating. Fascinating. King Salmon, Alaska, northwest of Kodiak Island, we have a 2.40. 2.40 there. All right, we're not done yet. 2.5 in the middle of the Cook Inlet, the northern part of the Cook Inlet. We have no earthquakes around Mount Redoubt today. There's no earthquakes around Mount Redoubt. They're north of here and south of there. Okay. Anchorage, Alaska, 1.69 miles north-northwest of Anchorage, and another 1.9 in Big Lake, just north of Anchorage. Darn it, I wish that wouldn't do that. There we are. Okay. We have earthquakes all over. Let's go up to Denali. See what we have in Denali. East of Mount McKinley, we have a 2.2. North of there, northeast, we have another 2.2. And another 2.2, also northeast of there. And it keeps going. Healy, Alaska, 1.5. East of the McKinley, northeast of McKinley, we have a 1.6. And then it goes up to Fairbanks, a 2.2 in Fairbanks. This is the most earthquakes we've had in this area in weeks. Here's College, Alaska, 2.0. 2.0. For the first time in a long time, here's a 2.2 above the Arctic Circle. Arctic Village, Alaska, 2.2. 2.2 in Arctic Village. Okay. We have nothing at Katavik, Alaska, or up at Prudhoe Bay. But south of there, we've got that 2.2. So we have more earthquakes now, more swarms going on in Alaska than we've had in quite some time. Now I've been waiting all day to show you this. Packwood, Washington, a 0.63. Packwood, Washington, what is that? What is it, Packwood, Washington? I've been waiting all day to show you this. Right at the summit of Mount Rainier. Literally at the summit of Mount Rainier. A 0.63 at Packwood, just 17 miles north-northwest of Packwood, Washington, at the summit of Mount Rainier. The summit of Mount Rainier. How about them apples? Southwest of there, Morton, Washington, is 0.95. Fascinating, huh? And just as we get through that, they took one of the earthquakes down. We had a third earthquake just south of there. Over here to the west, let's go up to Montana. Ronan, Montana, 0.16. This is the northern part of the Yellowstone magma chamber. South, Butte, Montana, 1.65. Southwest of there, Challis, Idaho, 1.99 at the western part of the Yellowstone magma chamber. Challis, Idaho. Let's go east, West Yellowstone, 19 miles west-northwest of West Yellowstone, we have a 1.48. Okay, we're only showing 4 earthquakes around West Yellowstone magma chamber today. There were quite a few more, but they're not showing them. They're not on the map. We're not deserving to see those. Fascinating. Earlier tonight, I showed you the 2.2 in Mack, Colorado. Mac, Colorado. Alamo, Nevada, 1.4 at a 1.3, 21 or 31 miles west of Las Vegas, a 1.3 west of Las Vegas. They're getting closer to Vegas every day, folks. They're getting closer to Vegas every day. Now, earlier this afternoon, before we came on this show, we had one earthquake up near Petrolia, California on the Gorda Escarpment. Now we have two. Right on the Gorda Escarpment, folks, just west of Petrolia, California, which is right there on the Gorda Escarpment. We have a 2.76 and a 2.55, approximately 14 miles off the coast of Petrolia, California on the Gorda Escarpment. Right here, folks, this is the Cascadia subduction zone. That's the Cascadia subduction zone. And it runs right up the coast of Oregon, Washington, and just past Vancouver Island. You can see it, the Cascadia subduction zone, the Juan de Fuca, the Blanco fracture zone, the Gorda Ridge. Okay, so two earthquakes on the Gorda Escarpment today. Two twos, actually. Truckee, California, 1.18, 1.10. Truckee, California. Spanish Springs, Nevada, 0.7. Near that same area. Let's go south. Smith Valley, Nevada. Colville, California. Let's go over to where? Mammoth Mountain. As you can see, Mammoth Mountain had several earthquakes today. Several earthquakes. 0.15 or 0.25, 1.93, 1.30, 0.68, and a 0.85. All around Mammoth Mountain. Mammoth Mountain's a volcano, folks. Mammoth Mountain's a volcano. Let's go over to the coast here. The coast of California. El Granada, California, north of the Bay Area. El Granada had a 2.31. Aromas, California, just east of the Bay Area, 2.27. Further east, Los Banos, 1.98. I'm sorry, 1.98 Los Banos. Southeast of there, on the San Andreas Fault, the Pinnacles, a 2.58. Now this is a volcanic area, 2.58 in the Pinnacles. 1.95. Two earthquakes in the Pinnacles. Again on the San Andreas Fault, world famous for being the earthquake capital of California, Parkfield, California, a 0.99. Parkfield, California. West of there, San Ardo had a 1.79, San Simeon a 2.16 today. Beautiful area, San Simeon, California, 2.16. And it continues, folks. It continues. Let's go south to Oildale, California, a 3.19. 3.19. Bodefish, 1.33. Tehachapi, a 1.93. For those of us that live in California, we know where Tehachapi is. That's where all the trains come in from the desert and come in and go towards Los Angeles, Tehachapi, California. A very dangerous stretch of roadway there. 4-lane roadway in each direction, big freeway. Let's go down to Southern California. We have a swarm of earthquakes down here. Southern California. Banning, California, Riverside area. Banning, California. Idlewild, California. The Anza Gap here, folks. The Anza Gap is heating up again. Aguanga, California, North San Diego County. Negotiator knows where this is. Valley Center, California, 1.54. Palomar Mountain, 2.14, where the observatory is. Famous telescope, Palomar Telescope. Warner Springs, a 1.55, North San Diego County. Anza, California, 0.55. The Anza Gap is alive and well. We dropped down to northeast San Diego County. Borrego Springs was hit. Sorry. Borrego Springs, 0.73 today. Then we come down, like I said, to Ocotillo Wells, west, just west of the Salton Sea. Okay, that's what happened in California today. Mammoth was hit. We had very few earthquakes in the Searles Valley. Ridgecrest had a 1.33 today. We had about 15 or 20 earthquakes over here in the Mojave Desert today. Small swarm of earthquakes. Small swarm of earthquakes. Been a fairly quiet day. Fairly quiet day. Unusually quiet, actually. All right. Pecos, Texas. Oil and gas drilling in western Texas, 2.83. 2.83 in Pecos, Texas. Let's go up to Oklahoma. Marion, Kansas, north of Oklahoma, 2.93. Again, in an oil and gas pumping operation in Kansas. Medford, Oklahoma, 1.67. Perry, Oklahoma, 1.27. All these are in oil and gas. All these are in oil and gas pumping operations here in Oklahoma. And a 2.46 in Kinta, Kinta, Oklahoma, 1.46 right there. Okay, that's what happened in Oklahoma. Fairly quiet there. And we have nothing here in the East Coast. Yesterday we had one here in North Carolina on the southern part of the eastern North American craton. It was right here in North Carolina. Nothing today. Fascinating what one day makes. What one day makes. Okay, folks. I promised you that I would go over to the chat room and talk with you guys. So that's exactly what I'm going to do right now. Okay, what questions do you guys have for me? I want to welcome everybody here. Melissa's here, Lori's here, Laura's here, Whistler's here. Thank you, sir. Good to see you. Scooter's here, Barb's here, Chris is here. Wizard, that 7.7 near Jamaica was there yesterday. 7.7 there was yesterday. Okay. What questions do you guys have for me? Marshall's here. Thank you for being here, guys. We appreciate you. What's shaking, Obeyed? The entire world is shaking. We have large earthquakes everywhere, literally. Mm. Large earthquakes everywhere. Does anybody have questions? Red Gypsy, my friend. Good to see you, Red. Do I think Greece is going to drop down to Turkey? No, probably not anytime soon. I don't think. Sharon's trying not to get panicky. It's good not to get panicky. I'd rather be prepared than be panicky. Please get your emergency supply kits, get your preparedness plans written, and get ready because this is not over. I believe we're still in for some large earthquakes within the next 24 to 48 hours. It's not over. Marianne, it's good to see you. Thank you for coming over from Facebook. Thank you so much. We appreciate all those that are listening, watching us on Facebook, over in D Live, over on Twitch, and over on YouTube. Thank you all. We appreciate you. Is Puerto Rico going to get hit? Possibly. It's very possible. There's a 30% chance of Puerto Rico being hit by just as large or larger earthquake. A 30% chance. Just came in. Where was the new large earthquake? We've had quite a few new ones. We've had a large earthquake over in the Solomon Islands. We've had two earthquakes over in Papua New Guinea, large earthquakes. We've had a large earthquake over in Turkey today. Yes, it's too quiet on the West Coast. I don't like quiet on the West Coast. I just don't. When it's quiet there, when we have quiet zones, that only says we're in for problems. Yes, St. Pete, Florida felt that 7.7 yesterday. They did. The entire panhandle of Florida, from what I understand, felt it. Montana has gotten hit today by several quakes, all of them affiliated with the West Yellowstone uh, volcano. Yeah, the West Coast is only there because of magic. Magic and probably a few prayers. Okay, speaking of infection periods, Terry, bless you, sir. This is a man I truly love and care about, a dear, very, very close and dear friend. Um, 2 week infection period with no symptoms. I don't believe that. I believe they're playing games telling us that. Usually, there's a 4 to 6 day, maybe an 8 day, but not weeks. Not weeks. I'm sorry, it just doesn't happen. 2 week infection period, no. 7 to 8 days, yes. Okay. Um, Let me look here. I thought I had some information on that. Yes, I do. This information came to us. I want to show you this since you guys are talking about it here. This came to us yesterday, and I thought I'd share it with you. Globally, the World Health Organization is reporting 2,798 confirmed cases of the coronavirus. Okay, China is reporting most of these cases, 2,741. Authorities have reported 5,794 suspected cases and 80 deaths. Outside of China, 11 countries are reporting 37 confirmed cases. Chinese health authorities have also reported 5,794 suspected cases and 80 deaths. Outside of China, 11 countries are reporting 37 cases, 37 confirmed cases, and no deaths yet. Whose risk assessment is currently? China, very high. Regionally, high. Globally, high. The current estimates of the incubation period of the virus range are from 2 to 10 days, and these estimates will be refined as more data becomes available. Among the 37 cases identified outside of China, 3 were detected without the onset of symptoms. 36 of these cases had travel history related to China, of whom 34 had travel history of Wuhan, China, or had an epidemiologist link to a confirmed cases with travel history to Wuhan. United States of America. The Center for Disease Control and Prevention, the CDC, is reporting 5 confirmed cases. 73 cases are being investigated. None of these cases are a result of person-to-person spread, and this virus isn't currently spreading in the United States. The risk of individuals is dependent on exposure. At this time, some people will have an increased risk of infection. The example, healthcare workers caring for people with the 2019 NCOV patients and other close contacts. For the general American public who are unlikely to be exposed to this virus, the immediate health risk is considered low. But again, even the CDC, as of this morning, in a report from the World Health Organization, said that everyone had to take precautions. Again, wearing masks if you go outside, and also washing hands, and if you touch anything before you touch it, wear gloves. The CDC has deployed multidisciplinary teams to Washington, Illinois, California, and Arizona, because Arizona, as of yesterday, reported at least 1 case. These CDC people were deployed to help health departments with clinical management, contact tracing, and communications. Washington State has activated the State of Emergency Operations Center to facilitate information sharing and access to needed resources. Washington State had some confirmed cases that they were working with. Now you need to be aware that San Francisco has also opened its Emergency Operations Center. Now today, a plane load, a 747 aircraft with no windows, landed at March Air Force Base in Riverside, California, and unloaded a bunch of passengers, mostly workers from the U.S. Embassy in Wuhan, China. When they were picked up in Wuhan, China, our workers on the plane, emergency health workers on the plane, examined and continued to care for these passengers while they were en route back to the United States. They originally were supposed to go over to Ontario Airport in Riverside County. The plane was diverted to March Air Force Base, which is a reserve Air Force base in Riverside County, just north of San Diego. And these people deplaned there and are being treated at March Air Force Base in California. That is what is going on over there. Let me see, I may have some information about March Air Force Base here. If you just hold on a minute. No, that's not it. But I might as well show you this as well. I might as well show you this as well. This has to do with Cascadia, folks. Thought you might like to see this too. Tonight at 9 p.m. marks the 320th anniversary of the last major Cascadia subduction zone earthquake, a 9 magnitude earthquake event that created ghost forests along coastal Washington, sent a midnight tsunami to Japan, and added to the oral tradition of Native American tribes from Northern California to Vancouver Island, Canada. We don't know when our next event will occur, but we know that it will change everything in the Pacific Northwest. The best antidote for you is well-founded anxieties to face this thing starting in your own home. Do one thing this week. Secure one piece of furniture. Fill one container with water. Start one conversation that you've been avoiding. Confront our fears is the definition of empowerment. Earthquake preparedness culture. Earthquake preparedness culture. Let me see if I can play this video for you. There it is. Should be coming up, I thought. Maybe not. I thought we were going to play this video. Let me see if I can find it again and bring it back up here. Nope, it just disappeared. It just disappeared. So tonight at 9 p.m. is the 320th anniversary of Cascadia. Oh, that was weird. Gosh, I didn't think that would happen. Okay, we're back here. I'm now looking at the chat room here again. Okay, you guys are still talking about the coronavirus here. Yes, you guys are talking about them building walls and building that hospital to house people in China and take care of the people that are infected with the virus. None of the things that they have said they're doing make any sense. How can you build a hospital within a matter of days? One, it's impossible unless they're remodeling. But again, as I said last night, pictures that I saw were heavy duty construction equipment and no hospital there, and no buildings. And Terry's right. What is the implication of the new vaccines? I don't trust the vaccines that we presently have. Yeah, Terry, happy anniversary to the Cascadia. I won't take the vaccine, sorry. No way. As BJ says, best thing to eat healthy, stay hydrated so your body can deal with it. Stay away from sugar, too many carbs that are refined, get enough protein, and take precautions with your health. Make sure you wash your hands, wear gloves if necessary, and when necessary, wear a mask. And by the way, I've heard earlier today, Scarlett reported that apparently, I believe it was Amazon, is out of masks right now. Wizard says a bit he was in the hospital 5 days with sepsis, blood poisoning. Been there, done that. Yes, why would they have a patent on the virus? And it's been patented for several years. And then all of a sudden it escapes and goes to China, and now it's going all over the world. I have issues. I have issues. Yeah. Yes, Terry's right. Drink Oregon grapefruit tea and use colloidal silver. Absolutely. Absolutely. And gloves are a good thing. 4 boxes of gloves, Scooter said. Great. Great. Okay, guys, it is all but 8 o'clock. I promised the Freedom Revolution Network folks that I'd be off of here at 8 o'clock at night. We're here from 6 until 8 p.m., 7 days a week. Folks, I want to tell you thank you for being here. I appreciate all of you here, all of you that have had questions. I hope we've answered. I want to be available for you. If anything else happens, we will be bringing it to you as soon as the information becomes available. I want to, as I always do, ask the Lord to bless you, and do know that we love you. Thank you, Terry, for being here with us too. Yes, I heard the executive director of the World Health Organization died at age 50. It's too coincidental that right in the middle of the health outbreak, all of a sudden the director of the WHO dies. Very interesting. Thank you for being here, folks. God bless you. Do know that we love you. As Walter Cronkite would say, and that's the way it is. Wednesday, January 29th, 2019. For Emergency Management Associates, this is Ron Tyler. Hope you have a great night, folks. Much love, much devotion to each and every one of you. Thank you for being with us, and we'll talk to you again soon. See you later, guys.